It's got some decent creature comforts, heated seats.
Okay.
But yeah, you notice the rev hang.
The little rev hang, you just got to come off that throttle before you would intuitively do it. We are in a 2005 Lexus IS300. This is kind of the unicorn version of the car because we've got the manual 5-speed, the 2J, I gotta remember how to do this.
2JZ-GE.
GE, okay, yeah. So it's the NA Supra engine that we're driving, which, yeah, there's definitely some rev hang. Hopefully that's tunable. Can we tune that out?
Car can't be tuned until I don't have to pass emissions, which is 2 years from now.
Okie doke. And Massachusetts is getting very tough on that, so they may not happen. But yeah. I'm gonna let this loud car do the talking. We've got definitely some modifications on the list. So check the description because I'm not going through all of it to talk to every point that's changed on the car because this car has been in the Massachusetts car family for quite some time. I'm happy to finally be driving it. And now our good friend over here, Benson, has purchased it. So he's gone from a Scion XA to this bad boy. Love it. What a fun little beast. And it's not a BMW, so people won't be like, oh, you only do BMWs.
Don't worry, it's got a skid plate on it.
This poor car has been through so much. How many miles are on it right now?
149 almost.
Oh my God, yeah. And I'm pretty sure this car has been rear-ended more times than any non-totaled vehicle in existence. But luckily its previous owner took very good care of it every time it was rear-ended and never totaled it, never gave up on it, kept it going. So these Blizzaks, what sizes did you end up going with on the WS80s?
So the WS80s are 215, 45, 17 fronts and 245, 45, 17 rears. However, the stock size that was meant to go on these wheels were 235 fronts and 275 rears. So they are a little stretched.
For these wheels? For
these wheels.
Got it. Yeah.
Stock
Lexus
size,
wasn't crazy enough to put 275 rears on this car, which would have been super cool.
The stock size on this was 215, 45, 17s all around.
Expect to feel a turbo kick in with the sound.
Yeah.
Like it's a Supra.
I mean, it is just the same motor, it just doesn't make as much power because it's NA.
Oh, it sounds so good. And for the miles, I mean, it's well taken care of.
Yeah. I mean, the previous owner did all of these mods on it, and he drove it for probably, I think, 7-8 years like this. Well, not like with all the mods, but he had the car for 7 or 8 years, and he was the second owner, so.
This is cool.
Sounds like you're going a million miles an hour.
Yeah, it definitely has that feeling of being louder than it is fast. All right, let's listen to this. you also have to remember we're in a Lexus, so what you're hearing is very insulated, and that means that everyone outside is getting a lot more of like a ricey show than what we're getting in you know, on these microphones. So I always hear you long before I see you when you're driving around this area.
Yeah. I mean, it's also sort of great because you have like some of the performance of a Supra, but you also have 4 doors, full leather interior, heated seats, memory.
Rear wheel drive.
Yeah, you still get the rear wheel drive too. Manual transmission in this case.
Terrible downshift. My apologies. See, this is what I miss about like what's happening in car culture is this is a really special engine, and they put it in a, I don't want to say not so special car, but it's an IS300. Like, it's not amazing. It's not that the chassis in this car is something totally outrageous, but you know, we're not getting special engines anymore. You know, you look at BMW and we're getting all these like, kind of boring turbo engines, and they're workhorses. They do the trick. They do what they need to do. This just sounds like a race car.
I also feel with the new turbo engines that they're diluting the whole turbo system because, or their whole engines, because they're just putting them in everything.
Yeah, no, agreed.
I mean, sure, it's great you can get an X6 with a twin turbo V8 that makes like 600 horsepower, but I'd rather have it in an M3.
It's funny because that's the engine I like the most that BMW is making right now.
Really?
And they don't put it in any cars I want it in. Like, I wanted it in M3. Or, I don't know, there's something about the M3, M4, the sound's not right. And I know that's an old, you know, we've been over this. This is not new information, but like every time I look at them, I think the M3 is a gorgeous car. I think that the 4-door, you know, the proper M3 is a beautiful car. Every time I see one, especially in a competition package, it looks amazing in black.
Yeah.
It's a handsome, nice car. I think it's a beautiful car. And then right before I'm about to go, like, oh, maybe I should start looking at these, I remember what they sound like. And you know, a lot of people don't care so much about sound. I do. I mean, I'm kind of an audiophile only when it comes to engines, which is why I own the cars that I own. But this is a really special engine, and just giving it a little extra, you know, space to open its lungs with this exhaust.
Yeah, so the exhaust and the headers definitely help with this. And you get a little bit more induction noise with the intake from what I've heard. If you're on load and then you let off, you may barely hear some crackles. I've been testing it out. It's not quite, you know, pops and bangs, but
a little bit.
Yeah.
The other thing about the exhaust culture lately is now when I hear kids, younger people, talking about exhaust systems, they never talk about exhaust systems at wide open throttle. They're always talking about the overrun. They're always like, wow, listen to the snaps and crackles and pops, and that's part of this turbo culture that's happening right now. I really miss the idea that, like, when someone says, listen to this exhaust, they're just flooring it. They're just getting that load on the engine and letting it rev out, rather than like giving it load just to let off to hear some cracks and bangs and pops.
Yeah.
Cracks and bangs and pops are fun too, but this has that racy vibe. This has that revvy nature. So we can't talk too much about the handling of this car as it sits, because it definitely needs some brakes, and it's on snow tires. We're on WS80s right now, so it's not exactly the picture of exciting cornering, lateral G-force making monstrous drifts and all that crap, but I mean, well, I guess we could drift it, but not my car, and I don't really want to wreck yours. So I guess, you know, at the end of the day, we will do a spring review on this car when it's sorted, when you've got your tires, your brakes. You're a big autocrosser, so when you've got your R compounds on here, we'll go back to it, and what we'll do is we'll put it on Winding Road Magazine. So if you guys, you know, if you're new to my channel, I'm also a contributor to Winding Road Magazine. We do these POV drives, and you know, this thing is definitely like a little hidden gem. Chris Amos just did one somewhat recently, I think in the last 6 months, but it was pretty much bone stock. So when it comes to these little gems to find out, you know, what these engines can really sound like, I think that's what a lot of these viewers are looking for, to say like, whoa, if I bought that and, you know, put an exhaust on it, headers and all this good stuff, what's it gonna sound like? And the truth is, it sounds like this. It's droney at certain RPMs and certain loads, but that drone is masked by the insulation.
Yeah.
It's a Lexus.
Yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed a somewhat ricey drive in a somewhat ricey car. If you've got more questions, feel free to ask in the comments. I'm sure Benson will be patrolling the comment section to see what you folks think of it. But for now, I'm Tedward. Thanks for watching, commenting, sharing, liking, and subscribing. See you next time.